Good morning everybody and welcome again our course on Introduction to Mechanical Micromachining. In the last class we have discussed about the encoders and we have seen that there are two different kind of encoders, one is the rotary encoder, another is the linear encoder, and we have started discussion about the rotary encoders. And there are rotary also, there are two types, one is the absolute encoder and another is incremental encoder. And we have also seen that absolute encoder gives you the exact position even if there is a power failure, but that is not the case of a incremental encoder. So, let us see there further in this particular case that how these things are different with each other, and then we will continue on the linear encoder. So, this was the last slide what we have discussed here, that this is the absolute encoder. In absolute encoder it gives you exact position of the shaft even there is a power failure, because everything is depending on the binary code that is very unique for each and every position. Okay. So, this is how it works. Let us see this particular card. So, now in this particular slide what it is showing, so these are the two encoders, one is the rotary encoder and one is the, these are the linear encoders, but it is showing how this absolute encoder and the incremental encoder works. Right. So, now you can see that this particular encoder is the incremental encoder and this encoder is the absolute encoder. When it is starting movement, at that time you can see both are giving the same results. Now, 11.74 to 11.742, no issue with that, because it is at the initial position. Now, see it is going and power is on right now. So, here you can see that there is a one thing written, this is called reference. So, this is the reference line whatever you are getting here, and this is the other that whatever the small portion was there, that means the very fine grating of the black and white color part. So, now you think about this part. So, right now all the readings are okay, no problem with that. Now, there is a power failure. Now, both things are switched off, you are not getting any signal out of it, right. So, let us continue with that. Right. So, both are moving, power is on. Now, power is off. Now, you can see now after switch off the power, again power has come back, but now you can see still this absolute encoder is showing the same result here, but here it has not reached to that location because it is finding reference, where is the reference. So, if you continue with this operation, then it will take some time. Now, see it is blinking, reference is blinking. So, now it has reached. Now, if you see this part, now both things are not same, because it has found the reference, but reference will reach to that original position, right. So, it will take some time to reach, then if you continue this thing, now both things are same. So, now you can understand this thing, that how both encoder works, that is called linear encoder, absolute encoder and incremental encoder. We have taken the example of the linear encoder, but this is the same for the rotary encoder also. So, now you can see that when you are using a incremental encoder, you have to go with the reference position first to get the exact position. But in case of absolute encoder, even whatever is the situation, because it is creating unique binary code, and depending on that you are getting a position. So, there is no issue with that particular part. So, if you see this particular animation, now here what is saying, it is optical absolute optical encoder, this is the photo detector and this is the LED source. So, light will pass from here, it will be getting here, then there is a signal conditioner, because whatever light you are getting, it has to be converted into signal, and then you are getting the motion things out of it. So, this is the encoder disc and it has a two region, opaque region and transparent region, and it has a 4 different track right now here, 1, 2, 3 and 4 tracks. So, now if you want to increase the resolution, what you have to do? You have to increase the number of tracks, right. So, that is higher the higher number of tracks, higher the resolution. Correct. So, that is what is for this card. So, these are the 4 photo detectors. Right. So, when it rotates at that time, it will generate a unique signal out of, say, wherever it is opaque region, you will not get the signal, and whenever there is a light signal, you will get the signal out of it. So, this will generate one unique code, and that unique code will help you to find the absolute position of the shaft. So, let me show you one more video here, that is the extension of this video only.
Absolute encoders are used in many applications that require speed.
So, this is one of the application. What is happening here, that your robotic arm is there. Robotic arm is instructed to pick up the part where you are not getting this particular wrapper on the top of that. So, that is the application. Yeah, so, this is, we have already seen this particular part. So, let us not go through that again. So, these are the tracks what we have seen in the previous slide. So, this is how it will capture all the signals. Correct. So, now there are 3, so one is the decimal system, another one is the binary system, and another is the grayscale. So, from these 3 you have to find out the which one is best suitable for it, because it will get the signal based on all these 3 systems. So, let us see that how this thing. So, this is the 4-bit encoder. So, 4-bit, that means it has a 4 tracks. So, based on the 4 track you are getting a signal output, and for each and every this it is divided into total 16 division. Now, if you see here 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 15 plus 0, that is also one signal, right. So, 360 degree is divided into 16 part. So, each one has a one particular angle here. So, after every 22.5 degree signal rotation, you will get one unique combination of that. So, if you see this thing after 220, if it is moving to this location, now see this becomes the opaque and this become a transparent, and if you continue this particular part, if this particular thing is changing now. So, this is the third position is changing. If you continue, these two become opaque and this is a transparent, that is the second track starting from the center. So, after every 22.5 degree rotation, you will get one unique signal, and that is where you can get the power output. Right. So, these are the all 3 kind of things. So, this is called grayscale, this is a decimal scale, and this is the binary scale. How it is different in grayscale, what is going to happen, that you will always get a only one output, that means when it is rotating only one signal will change, not all the 3 or not more than one signal. So, for each and every rotation or every movement, you will get movement or change in the only one signal. But if you consider binary, there are more than one signal also will be changed with a 22.5 degree change. Now, say when it is moving from here to here, here in this particular case more than one signal will also change. So, that is the problem here in this case, because accuracy will not be that much high. So, if you want to use with a extremely high precision or the resolution motion, it is better to go with the grayscale code instead of the binary code, because it is getting a only one change in the signal compared to the earlier 2 cases. So, that is the advantage of gray code compared to binary code. So, how we can use this particular thing? So, again the same things are here, that you have a 4 different code and you will get the decimal out of it. and whenever it will match that particular signal, that means it is not only this robotic arm, there is another sensor available which will tell you that when this particular belt is moving in this direction, when your encoder has to activate this particular robotic arm, and then it will pick up the component. Right. So, this is rotating right now depending on this particular part. So, now you can see that this wrapper is there, but this wrapper is not here. So, when this particular part will come, because now distance between these two are also fixed, and then when it is moving at that time, your encoder will give a signal to this particular actuator that when this particular part without wrapper is coming. So, your robotic arm will pick up this part and put into this beam. Correct. So, this is how it will work in different application. So, now you can see here that it is not only the encoder, but there are many sensors which are used for making this system working. Now, if you see that this is one is that vision system, which is probably finding that whether wrapping is there or not on the box. Another thing is the what is the location of that particular box. So, that is where you can find out the use of this encoder. After that, there is actuator and other signal processing, which will tell you that when this particular box is coming just below the robotic arm. So, you actually create the vacuum of this particular part and then take out this part out of this belt drive and put into the bin. So, many sensors are used for any automation or automatic system or the automatic transfer of the parts. So, let us go again back to the slides. Right. So, this is what we have seen about the rotary encoder and the absolute encoder and the incremental encoder. So, now what is the problem with rotary encoder that we have seen in the earlier thing? The rotary encoder only determines the distance of the or the speed of travel. Distance, speed of travel, that means if it is rotating at some RPM, then we will definitely get the, because every instant of rotation you are getting one signal. So, how fast you are rotating, the faster you are getting the signal. So, RPM you can easily get. It will also find the distance, by which we have seen that if you know the lead pitch of the lead screw, then pitch of the lead screw you have to find out that what is the RPM, that means how much is the rotation of that particular shaft. If one rotation is there and 5 millimeter is the pitch of the lead screw, then it will move 5 millimeter in the translation direction. But what is the problem, that suppose your lead screw has a backlash or wear or thermal changes of the bolt screw, then it will not account this particular thing, because these are the mechanical parts and your rotary encoder does not have any type of signal or any type of feedback device which will account this particular problem. So, if you think about this thing, so any such bolt screw geometrical changes will cause error in the calculation of the actual position. So, let us see this thing, that if you are using a rotary encoder for getting a motion of a linear motion with a condition that there is a backlash or thermal changes, then what is going to happen with the position accuracy? Right. So, right now what we are doing, that this is one of the operation. Now, see, this is the one drive, it is a recirculating bolt screw kind of drive, and we are adding one rotary encoder at the end, because we know that we have to mount the encoder at this location only. Correct. So, this is the one full system, and rotary encoder is attached at this location. Now, you know that this is the semi closed loop, because rotary encoder measures the rotary motion of the spindle in this particular case. Now, how we calculate this thing? We have seen that from rotary motion and the screw pitch, the control calculates the position of the axis, because you have to find first what is the pitch of that particular screw, and whatever is the rotation, and based on that calculation it will find the what is the exact linear position of the axis. Right. So, it is moving hundreds of time here and there. So, what is happening, that when it is moving, even though it is a recirculating bolt screw kind of thing. So, this is called the linear guide wire, that we have seen long time before, that screw, that bolts are here which are recirculated around this particular system, and then you have a point contact or line contact of many bolts. So, it will reduce the friction between these two. But still if you find that if you are moving this thing hundreds or thousand times, then there is obviously heat generation, and that heat generation is enough to get some backlash here. So, what is the excess drip? That excess drip is because the spindle becomes warmer and expands slightly. So, because we know there is a coefficient of thermal expansion of each and every material. So, if you heat that particular component beyond a certain limit, then there is expansion of those particular material. So, shaft will expand slightly. So, now it is a heating. So, now you can see the temperature is increasing. Now, it is motor is also heated, and this particular bolt screw or the lead screw is also heated. Now, consider right. So, now you want to drill holes. So, these are the point which is actually the location where you want to drill. So, you start drilling with the first hole, second hole, third hole. Let us see that what is the problem of location accuracy because of this thermal error. Now, you can see that here it is actually matching the desired dimension of the red color circle, but as you moving from here to here, you can see there is a shifting of the red circle with the drill hole. Now, so this is the what is problem here. Right. So, if you see the last hole, you can see the how much is the difference between the desired position and this position. Right now, what we have taken this example, it is related to thermal change only, but it may be because of backlash also, wear also, because whatever is the mechanical system, you will get the wear not today, but after 2 more or after 1 year also. So, that is the position problem here. So, now you can see the how much is the difference between that two part. Now, you can say that if you want to avoid this thing, what you have to do, that instead of a rotary encoder, you have to put a linear encoder. So, this is the linear encoder measures the position directly onto the axis slide, right. So, now we are not putting the encoder at the motor side, but we are putting one strip here. That strip will help you into finding the linear position. So, this is the rotary encoder, it is along the axis of this particular travel. Right. So, whatever is there is a problem, even if there is a backlash or there is a thermal change, but it always finds that particular position. So, spindle temperature has no effect because of the position is directly measured onto the axis. Right. So, now it will exactly find where is the position. So, you do not get the exit or the deviation in the drill hole in the desired location. So, we understood that rotary encoder is good for the rotational measurement only, not the displacement. That means, how much distance travel, it is sometimes very tricky if the system is not exactly as per the required dimension because of this backlash wear and the thermal changes. Right. So, now let us go to the linear encoder. What are the linear encoders? To ensure the most precise axis position, micromilling application requires glass scale. So, that is called linear encoder to be placed close to the guideways in order to provide additional feedback to the controller, right. So, in micromilling, it mostly necessary to use a 0.1 micron glass scale rather than commonly used 0.5 micron version, because we know that our many system, that suppose you are using a linear drive, then your system itself has a very high resolution. So, it is better to go with a 0.1 micron compared to the commonly used 0.5 micron, because if you are going with 0.1 micron or 0.5 micron, you are not actually getting all the benefits of your very costly system. So, better to go with the 0.1 micron. So, how it will work, that it measures the relative motion between the reader head in respect to the scale body and converts this data into the electrical signal. So, this is the similar to what we have seen in the rotary encoder, only difference is that now everything is flattened away, not in the rotational part. So, again same thing, that you have a source here which is passing through this light, and these are the glass scales. So, earlier case it was in a circular pattern, but it is not circular pattern now, it is in the linear part. Then this is the moving scale with respect to that, and this is the infrared sensor where it is receiving the signal. So, here also we are talking about the incremental part here. So, if you are talking incremental part, then every time it will give you. So, this is the case. So, similar to that part, what is happening here, that these are the actual scale and these are the reference scale. Right. In that case also there was a Z scale. So, this is also considered as a Z scale reference mark, and you can see the reference mark is aligned with this one only, while this remaining part is aligned with this 4 part, correct. So, if it is end position, you can find the reference. If it is somewhere in the middle, you can get, and there is one more you can get at the starting point. So, this is what is happening here. So, this is your actual scale which is on this part, and this is your moving scale, right. So, when your scale is moving, at that time it is in this particular case, so it is not misaligned, it is misaligned completely, because it is not aligned with this blue color and red color. Whatever white color is, it is spacing with that, then it continue, then it is partially aligned, it is a completely aligned. So, when it is completely aligned, what is going to happen? Your light will pass through it, and when it is light will pass through, you will get a signal, and you know that what is the position of that part. But here also obviously you have to have a reference mark here, so that even if some power failure or some type of other problem, you can reference it to the actual position. Yeah. So, made from a strip of high quality glass with evenly etched very small mark here. So, how to create this mark, correct. So, that is also important, because we are discussing that it distance should be, the distance between the two marks should be 0.1 micron or something. So, what we are talking here, that this particular distance between those two, whatever is the distance, similar way you will get the signal out of it, right. So, these are the distance between these two. So, if you think about 0.1 micron to 1 micron. So, first thing, how to make this particular things. So, how there are lithographic process available, etching available. So, what you have to do, that you have to create one particular mask out of different processes. There are electron beam lithography is available, mask generator. Then what you have to do, that you have to create one glass plate here, and on the top of that you have to put one layer, that is this particular black layer, the black color whatever is there, or the opaque layer, that is, let us like black color, correct. So, on the top of that, what you have to provide, that you have to provide one mask here on the top of it, right. So, this is called the mask with a this much precision. Whatever we are talking here, there are some open position available. So, that open position will directly come into, that means whatever you are putting from the top, that is called etchant. So, now let me draw that also. So, these whole things are etchant, this is called etchant, right. So, whatever this opening position is there, so this opening position, so whatever is this position is there, so this is the same dimension what we are talking, it is a 0.1 to 1 micron, correct. So, now what is happening? So, this etchant will come into contact with this, it is contacting all the surface, but some portion is actually a mask, actually insulated by this mask. So, those portion is will not be etched away. So, now if you give some time and temperature, particular temperature, then what is going to happen? This particular part will be removed from this particular layer. Right. So, this is the portion will be removed. So, once it is over, then what you have to do, that you have to apply one mask removal process, or you have to apply under etching process. So, you can get this thing done without creating any problem. So, this is called the etching process, the way you are getting these particular marks. So, this is the way of operation of a linear encoder. So, two optical sensors are placed very close to each other. So, let us see this thing also. Yeah, so, this is called the encoder. So, encoder is located here. So, you can actually get the direct position of this particular part. So, this is the mark that we have seen there also. So, there are two ways of doing that thing. Let me see if it is visible. So, this is the scanning unit whatever is available, this is mounting block, because you have to mount this thing and you have to make sure that when you are machining, because you are using a coolant also, many chip is also coming which are very hot. So, it is to protect this thing, that everything will be completely covered by some metallic cover, so that nothing from outside will create any problem with the measurement unit. So, this is the glass scale with a very fine grating on the top of it. This we have seen already. Yeah, so, there are different ways you are getting the signal. So, these are the way, because suppose you have 4 signal, then one is 0, 90, 118, 220, 270 degree, you will get a signal out of it. So, there is a single field scanning, this is force field scanning. So, similar to that, you have a 4 different aligner, 0, 90 degree, 180, 270, you will get another way out of it. So, in that case you can get the signal, but problem is that in this particular case, in 4 field scanning, it will actually create a problem. If you see this signal strength, then here you will get little bit of contamination in the part. Now, see, you can get this thing. Now, you can see the signals are not same. So, here you will get some contamination quality because of the signal problem. So, it is better to go with a single field scanning and you can get the required result done. So, here also you have to find the which way it is moving, correct. So, in earlier case we were using in the rotary encoder A and B slit. So, depending on A and B slit, it was giving the result. So, here also we are using the similar way, but it is on the side by side, but it is in the linear scale. So, again which way it is moving, from right to left or left to right, still you can find the direction of the motion as well as the how much it is moving in the different directions. So, that is okay now, this much is enough for this part. Now, coming to the spindle. So, now how this thing works. So, it is better, let me think that this thing we will cover in the next class, because this is very big topic, we will start from the next class. Thank you very much.